This presentation, titled Contracts, was given at the 30th Annual Convention of Pepperidge Farm Owners at the Orleans Hotel and Casino, April 27th and 28th, 2018. So let's get started. What is a contract? Oxford Dictionary defines a contract as a formal agreement between two or more parties setting out the terms and scope of the business being transacted. Just wondering, were you like this when you signed your first contract?
Don't be alarmed. And as soon as your outer vestments are in hand, we'll begin. Now, will the children kindly step up here?
Floods, fire, frost, of frippery.
Accidents? What kind of accidents?
I didn't know we had to sign anything for this tour.
I can't see what it says in the bottom.
Violet, you first. Sign here.
Hold it! Let me through here, you kids. Violet, baby, don't you sign anything there. What's this all about?
Standard form of contract.
Don't talk to me about contracts, Wonka. I use them myself. They're strictly for suckers.
Yes, but you wouldn't begrudge me a little protection. A drop.
I don't sign anything without my lawyer.
My broker don't sign anything either.
Then you don't go in. I'm sorry, rules of the house.
I want to go in! Don't you dare stop
I'm
me!
only trying to help you, sweetheart.
Give me that pen! You're always making things difficult.
Nicely handled, Baruka. She's a girl who knows where she's going. Violet.
Okay, a couple of questions is, did you even look at your contract before you signed it? And did you have any legal counsel present when this happened? Well, let's go back to the items inside a Pepperidge Farm contract, and we'll go through these individually. Definitions, terms, Schedule A, Schedule B, addendums, and then Schedule A mapped out. So let's take a look at definitions. Definitions, we have some key definitions for bakery, consignee, territory, consigned products, stale products, seconds, distribution, bulletin prices, and chain. Schedule A is nothing more than a written geographic route description showing where the territory begins and ends. This is what it may look like in your contract. Of course, yours may be longer or shorter depending upon how complex your boundaries are. Let's move on. In 2018, Schedule A now includes a little waiver. Let's go over the waiver real quick. It says, notwithstanding anything in this distribution agreement or the description of territory to the contrary, distributors shall have no right whatsoever at any time to distribute consigned products to any retail stores that are, have been, or in the future are deemed to be club stores within the territory described herein. For the purpose of this distribution agreement, the term club store shall mean that class or type of retail store that is commonly, though not necessarily, dedicated to large size and bulk sales to consumers who may be required to pay a membership fee to shop therein. For example, Costco, Sam's Club, BJ's. It is agreed and understood by distributors that bakeries shall have the exclusive right to distribute consigned products to all club stores that have existed, currently exist, or in the future may exist in the territory. Couple of issues that I just want to bring up real quick with this is the fact that what happens if a club store is no longer deemed a club store? Let's say that Sam's wants to become a grocery store. Could that still be classified as a club because once before it was a club? Or the fact that here it says that stores may have large sizes and bulk sales, or they may not. Or last, let's go over the fact that most club stores charge a membership fee, or they may not. This kind of leaves the door open for a very broad interpretation on what indeed is called a club store. Schedule B is nothing more than a list of consigned products subject to modification per paragraph 10. As you will notice, there are items in here that are no longer carried because this Schedule B is from 2004, and likewise items have been added to Schedule B. But for whatever reason, the distributor does not receive a new Schedule B after signing. Addendums. Addendums is something that is added to the contract afterwards, sort of like the Bill of Rights to the U.S. Constitution. There's many different types of addendums. A freshness letter, internet sales, club store exclusion, convenience store exclusions, and there may be others. This one right here is a freshness letter, which gives Pepperidge Farm the right to remove any product that is damaged or stale found in a store, and you will reimburse them within 1 week. Here is the e-commerce letter. Now this addendum says consignee agrees and acknowledges that any e-commerce, internet site, or other electronic commerce points of sale and their associated warehouses or other facilities operated by such accounts are not retail stores as such termed and used in the consigned agreement. I think we can all agree to that. There are several distributors who will serve as e-commerce accounts, and this is basically a side letter that they sign with Pepperidge Farm, and the commission that they receive is not 20%, it is less, and I believe it does vary. Here is the third letter. This is called an inventory depletion addendum. Many years ago, before 2000, distributors who were at that time called distributor customers actually purchased their product from Pepperidge Farm on a weekly basis. It was not on the inventory depletion system. In 2000, Pepperidge Farm rolled out Project Symphony, which converted from the distributor customer purchasing their product to only paying for the product once they sold it. The main item that we need to take a look here is the fact that in paragraph 3, I acknowledge that my inventory reports will be accurate and transmitted each week. The transmission will be complete on Sunday before 4 p.m. and in the form specified by Pepperidge Farm. I understand that failure to submit accurate and timely inventory reports or falsifying an inventory report is grounds for and may result, among other things, my termination of consignment agreement for cause. The one concerning part is I understand the failure to submit accurate and timely inventory reports. What happens if you make a mistake and you were not intentionally falsifying? Can you lose your contract for cause? Many distributor customers back in 2000 refused to sign this letter. Back to our contract, Schedule A. Because this is from 2004, we get a nice black and white copy of what this territory looks like on a map. Let's move on. The number one question is, how are distributors contractually compensated? So let's think about that for a second. Are distributors paid a certain percentage of invoice before proof discounts? I have heard that answer many times. What do you think? Well, if you said distributors are paid based upon bulletin prices, you would be correct. It is not based on 20% off invoice before discounts. How do we know this? Well, let's go back to the contract. Back in our Schedule B says, for distribution of the foregoing products to direct billing customers of bakery under paragraph 3B of this agreement, consignee will be paid a percentage of the net proceeds of such sale paid to the bakery, calculated at the rate of 20% of the published price in effect from time to time for consigned products. That is why distributors on both bakery and snack side are paid before the discounts. We are paid published bulletin prices. Now, this rate of 20% may differ from area to area. There have been reports of bakery distributors making more than 20%. But let's move on. Here is a bulletin price list, Snack Business Unit Price Bulletin. This is an official list from 8/1/2011. It says Sales Bulletin number 30. As you can see, items are grouped up by category, UPC, weight, the date of the last price change, the wholesale price, and the suggested retail price. You need to remember that on the East Coast, everything is pre-priced. Here is another one. Sales Bulletin 30, January 28th, 2013. Still looks the same. Still has the items, the UPC, the weight. Here they added how many per case, the last price change, unit price, case price, and suggested retail. But let's take a look at what it says down here. Down at the bottom it says, this price bulletin is an updated list of consigned products, Schedule B to the consignment agreement, and supersedes any previously issued price bulletin. This is an official document that should be kept with your contract. As a matter of fact, all bulletin price lists were printed this way before 2015. What happened back in 2015? Well, Pepperidge Farm changed some of the wording. We still have the same price bulletin, Snack Business Unit Price Bulletin, effective 4/26/17 in this case, but now Pepperidge Farm changed the wording down on the bottom. They're no longer saying a price bulletin list, they're using a price list. This price list is provided for informational purpose only and does not replace or supersede the updated and current price bulletin that is published on a nightly basis via the handheld network. For the most up-to-date and accurate published bulletin prices for product, please access the price list in your handheld. So are we paid on a price list or are we paid bulletin prices? Whose responsibility is it to provide this list? Is it Pepperidge Farm or is it the distributors? Well, this brings up a great question. Is it a bulletin price list or not a bulletin price list?
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple. This is an apple.
Okay. So now, this is what a price list looks like. Handheld bulletin price list. Well, let's take a look at this a little bit more closely. What is missing on this price list? You can see I have 5 different price lists here, and it's obvious that there's no name. There's also no designation that this is anything official. This is just a price list. Doesn't say anything about bulletin price list, doesn't reference the contract at all. Let's continue on. This price list is an updated list of consigned products. Remember, back before 2015, every bulletin price list would state this. Now this says absolutely nothing other than a price list, not a bulletin price list. So let's move on here. This looks so official. Do you think a account manager would give this to one of their customers? I am embarrassed as a distributor to hand something like this to an account of mine saying, well, you were looking for an official list. Well, this is it. Well, how about the Pepperidge Farm website? Does that show bulletin prices? Pepperidge Farm always tells us, the distributors, to go to the website for the most accurate and up-to-date notifications. So when we go back and we take a look, we see that this right here from last October, if we take a look at 33 ounce at a Walmart, it shows $6.66. So what is it? Is it $6.66 or is it $5.08? There is no consistency. Handheld says $5.08. Website says $6.66. Later on, we'll talk about the tiebreaker. Here's another one showing that another Walmart compared to a Target, both showing $6.66. But that's not what is reflected in the handheld. Why is that? Let's talk about who is responsible for promotions. Is it Pepperidge Farm or are distributors responsible? We have known in the past that distributors are paid on invoices before proof discount. But let's take a look at the contract again. This would be paragraph 3, proceeds and records of sale. We go down to the bottom here and it says, shall be paid a percentage of net proceeds payable to bakery by the direct billing customer. Such percentage to be calculated at the rate specified in Schedule B. Does not say the rate of the invoice, does it? The rate specified in Schedule B. And remember Schedule B? This is kind of a little bit of let's go here to go here to go here. So Schedule B, just to refresh, rate of 20% of published prices, not invoice prices. Two different things. Mark Schreiber sent out a letter talking about the Walmart promotion. And let's go over this real quick. We highlighted in the third paragraph, this particular event we chose to deliver without using trade spend in an effort to deliver a promotional program, and with each of the Pepperidge Farm, Walmart, and the distributor will win in the marketplace. Now, what is wrong with this sentence? How can you have a promotion without trade spend? If it's going to be a promotion and Walmart's getting it at a cheaper price, who's paying for that? But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter because distributors are paid bulletin prices. If 30-ounce goldfish shows up at 10 cents a unit at Walmart, the distributor should still be paid the bulletin price of $6.66. But then Mark Schreiber continues, the law provides that we are permitted to test new promotional programs with customers on a limited basis. Okay, let's talk about what is limited basis. Is there a definition? Let's ask the bakery distributors who have been giving Walmart swirl bread, Italian bread, grain bread, farmhouse, at a lower wholesale price than the rest of the customers for years. Years is not limited. Let's talk about the snacks. If we run a promotion every 6 months where Pepperidge Farm does not pay bulletin prices, but distributors are paid commissions based on a lower wholesale, is that a test? Or is that a program? Let's continue on here. A promotion without trade spend is simply not a promotion. Let's say that again. A promotion without trade spend is not a promotion. Trade spend needs to be used. There needs to be some type of discount, and we've already proven that Pepperidge Farm is the one responsible because distributors are paid bulletin prices. So let's take a look back in 2015 when Pepperidge Farm spent time in front of the National Labor Relations Board. This is actually covered in another presentation which should be available. But this was submitted to the National Labor Relations Board, and it says, when Pepperidge Farm runs a promotion, a Pepperidge Farm account manager and a buyer for the chain store establishes the prices for the promotion. Typically, the chain agrees to sell the product to consumers at a lower retail price than usual, and Pepperidge Farm lowers the wholesale price that the chain pays Pepperidge Farm for the product. But the SDA's 20% commission is still calculated on what? Published Schedule B, rather than the lower negotiated wholesale price. So, let's figure this out. A promotion without trade spend is not a promotion. Simply, it is a way to have distributors pay for the promotions. And that is a breach of contract. Let's take a look at the third place where we can find what a bulletin price. We already went over the handheld is showing 508. The website is 666. Take a look at the settlement statement. Now, this is an official billing record. As we see with this distributor here, this distributor shows a discrepancy of 18 units that they could not account for. Well, what happens if the 18 units were meant for Walmart? Shouldn't this say 508? Well, of course not. It would never say 508 because the published bulletin price is 666. Period. Back on June 3rd, 2016, Mark Schreiber introduces some new terms. What is EDLC and how does that affect commission? Again, Mark Schreiber announces that they are promoting without using trade spend, which is a violation of the contract. He also mentions a term called net EDLC and another term down here, dead net price. What are these terms? These terms are not in the contract at all. As far as we can understand, we believe that EDLC is everyday low cost price, but we have no idea. And if it's not in the contract, well, that's kind of a problem. And by the way, it really doesn't matter because as we've already determined from paragraph 3, proceeds and records that were paid a percentage based upon Schedule B, and then Schedule B references bulletin prices, not EDLC or dead net, whatever. So let's bring this up again. Contract states that Pepperidge Farm is responsible for promotions, not the independent distributor. EDLC is not found anywhere in the contract. Therefore, Pepperidge Farm is altering the contract by not paying bulletin prices. That is another word of a breach. But if we take a look towards the end of the contract, we see in this contract, paragraph 28, called Entirety of Consignment Agreement. This agreement may not be amended orally or by custom or by conduct, but only by a writing signed by both bakery and consignee. Well, what is EDLC? That is by conduct by Pepperidge Farm. Did any distributor sign anything saying that they would accept payment other than bulletin prices? What else is Pepperidge Farm doing, such as scam-based trading, that is not referenced in the contract? Again, it should not matter because distributors are paid by bulletin prices. This begs the question, if Pepperidge Farm can pull off a EDLC, why wouldn't they promote every time just using EDLC for every promotion at every chain? Think about it. There's an old saying, the golden rule, he who has the gold makes the rules. Well, let's face it, Pepperidge Farm has the gold. Pepperidge Farm realizes that most independent distributors basically don't understand their contract. Most of them never had it looked at and read by an attorney. Most distributors do not understand contract law. Why? Because that's not what distributors do. That's what attorneys do. Most distributors won't even seek out legal counsel. I'm going to go over this in a second. Most distributors don't have the time or finances to litigate. They also don't have the will to litigate. Litigate is not fun. It is not easy. It can be very stressful, and a lot of times it's just easier to say, I'll just leave it as is. Now, back in the March club survey that the association did, question 7, do you have legal counsel? Now, these are distributors who were already approached by Pepperidge Farm. Less than 18% have sought legal counsel. When you are doing something that deals with your contract, you need to have an attorney. Why is it that only 18% thought it was important to spend the time and money to research an attorney and consult with them? Pepperidge Farm knows that they can drag out legal proceedings for years. The current California class action lawsuit was actually filed back in 2013. Here we are in 2018. The case is yet to be heard. It is still going through the court. And at this point, Pepperidge Farm is trying to have it dismissed as a class action suit. It is currently in front of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, scheduled to be heard later on this year. With their determination, if it's going to go forward, then the actual suit will be heard. Pepperidge Farm idea is to litigate until the money runs out. Now, that is something that the association truly believes, because we've seen this before. Back in 2008, which again is covered in a different different presentation, we cover this more in detail. But in 2008, the association, who was backing 7 distributors, ran out of money. Then what happens? Discouragement. We watched our membership plummet after that, and it took us years to start to build it back. That and apathy. People just give up and don't care. Never ever give up. Let me say that one again. Never ever give up. Why would you give up? Why would you want to make less money than what you are contractually obligated to? So let's go ahead here. What happens when you don't read and abide by the contract? We'll go back to Charlie.
Mr. Walker?
I am extraordinarily busy, sir.
I just wanted to ask about the chocolate. The lifetime supply of chocolate for Charlie. When does he get it?
He doesn't.
Why not?
Because he broke the rules.
What rules? We didn't see any rules, did we, Charlie?
Wrong, sir. Wrong. Under Section 37B of the contract signed by him, it states quite clearly that all offers shall become null and void if, and you can read it for yourself in this photostatic copy, I, the undersigned, shall forfeit all rights, privileges, and licenses herein and herein contained, etc., etc., fax mentis incendium gloria culpum, etc., etc., memo bis punitor delicatum. It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
You're a crook. You're a cheat and a swindler. That's what you are. How can you do a thing like this? Build up a little boy's hopes and then smash all his dreams to pieces. You're an inhuman monster!
I said good day!
Come on, Charlie. Let's get out of here. I'll get even with him if it's the last thing I ever do. If Slugworth wants a gobstopper, he'll get one.
Mr. Wonka?
So shines a good deed in a weary world. Charlie, you lose!
Okay, so apparently in this scenario, we see that one person, Willy Wonka, he knows his contract. He knows it inside and out. And of course, Charlie and his grandfather don't. So let's move on here. What are some solutions? Well, the very first solution is to get educated. You need to know your contract. You need to be able to understand and explain the issue not only to other distributors, but to attorneys and in some cases lawyers. I'm sorry, not lawyers, judges. That's how well you need to know the issue inside and out. It does take time. Now, the association has set up the Protect Your Equity series, which can definitely help you and help your attorney get up to speed with what the points are in this issue. Part 1, understanding bulletin prices and your contract. Very important, probably going to be the best 25 minutes that you're going to spend in terms of going over the contract and understanding how you are compensated, what is legal, what isn't legal. Part 2 is broken into 2 sections, one for snacks and one for bakery distributors on calculating your losses. Part 3 goes over documenting your losses. Then we'll jump over to Part 5, documenting your losses with scan-based trading. This is just for bakery. And again, this begs the question, is there a side letter, an addendum for scan-based trading? Is it part of the contract? If distributors are paid by bulletin prices, why is anyone scan-based trading being paid? Part 6, printing price lists and organizing. Then part 7 is a time for action, which we will go over right now with some of the bullet points. Number 1, can litigate breach of contract on failure to pay bulletin prices. For this, you're going to need a lawyer, or you could go to small claims court. Let me tell you from experience, small claims court is not the right venue for this because judges are not versed in contractual business law. The best place to go would be a state or federal court. More than likely, it would end up in federal court either way. But this is something you would need to sit down with your attorney and go over everything and come up with a budget. My guess is you're going to be able to budget probably around $20,000 to $30,000 if this is the only issue that you are looking at. Another thing that is covered in video 7 of Protect Your Equity series, there are 2 federal laws that the association believes that Pepperidge Farm is in violation, the Sherman Act and the Robinson-Patman Act. The Federal Trade Commission, as well as state attorney generals, have overview of this act and the enforcement. But for this to be effective, we need to have a large group contact them consistently until we hear from them. If we only have a few dozen people emailing or contacting them, more than likely nothing is going to happen. But if we have hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, contacting them on a monthly basis, when this is happening, then they will have to look into this. Another option, you just decline to participate. This means not delivering products where Pepperidge Farm is not paying bulletin prices. This would really be effective if we could get an entire depot to step up and do this. If not depot, several depots. How is Pepperidge Farm going to get the product there? Let's take a look at other solutions. This was brought up at the Baltimore Roadshow last year. Attend a Campbell Soup's shareholder meeting, which we will definitely be talking about this. But to attend, you need to own Campbell Soup stock. You can see that if you go to this web address here, they will have a link on how you can purchase stock from the company if you don't want to use your own personal stockbroker. You need to have one share to be able to attend a stockholder meeting. This gets a little bit radical. We see with a lot of political movements, people demonstrate. Now, when we take a look at the other side of it, we could take a look at unions. Unions hold demonstration. Recently, we saw teachers out in Oklahoma and West Virginia have demonstrations to bring the media into it and really get the messaging out. This is something that, unfortunately, I believe that the association is really going to have to consider. I believe the question is, who is up for the task? So this brings us down to what are the goals of the association? What do we need to do? Well, we are already looking at several litigators, and we want to retain one. The lawyer, he's looking for a $50,000 retainer fee. Just like anything else, you have lawyers, and then you have lawyers, and then you really have lawyers. And lawyers are not cheap, which we do cover in another video on how to hire lawyers. So I'm just going to leave it right there. I don't want to steal any of that thunder. Currently, any money that we do raise after we get the $50,000 to hire the litigator, which I'm hoping that this is going to be done within the next 30 days, we need to have another road show. This time we are focusing on the East Coast, mainly because that's where we have a lot of bakery distributors. So we're looking to do an East Coast probably again in October. We need to bring up membership. Even though membership has increased dramatically since last year, we really need to get people who are affected by bulletin prices, mainly those who have Walmarts, especially on the bakery side, and the club store issue, which again, there is another presentation that goes over the entire club store issue. We want a commitment to raise $250,000 within the next 2 years. Why is that? Well, 10 years ago, we raised $750,000 in just a few years. We realized that wasn't enough money. Now, that lawsuit is a lot different than just doing a single item. 10 years ago, we were litigating 7 items, 7 different distributors. And things got very, very costly. Here, it's one item, bulletin prices. So let's go ahead here. And I already mentioned, we need to get the education. People need to care on what their contract says. They need to be able to explain their contract. And most importantly, how to protect their equity. I'm going to close with this. This is a quote from the Declaration of Independence. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Let's just take a look at this for just a quick second here. That we are more disposed to suffer. Yes, we know that Pepperidge Farm is violation of our contract, but this is what we hear. But we're still making money. That's making money is not the point. The point is we sign contracts. Shouldn't the contracts be honored? If not, why did we even bother signing them? And if Pepperidge Farm can change the contract willy-nilly because because of the golden rule, they are the ones with the gold. What does that do to the value of the contracts? Anyways, the legal fund. This should be set up. If it's not set up already, it will be shortly. This is what we did 10 years ago. We want to have people, we want to give them the option to participate, to contribute. The easiest way is you would need to have a PayPal account, and you would be able to sign up and do a monthly payment that is recurring. Those who don't have a PayPal account, we could contact you every month, like say on the 15th, and just send you a reminder, and you could go to the website and do a one-time payment. Or what worked out last time too, people were post-dating checks. So to give you an example, these are the options that we're currently looking at that should be up on the website under the contribute page. Looking for minimum $50 a month or $600 a year, and up to $500 a month or $6,000 a year. Now, this may seem like a lot of money, and for some who are still paying on their routes, yes, it is a lot of money. And if $50 a month is too much and you want to see an option for $25 a month, you just let the association know and we will create this. The fact of the matter is we need to seriously pool our money together, because if we don't pool our money together, things are only going to get worse. If you have any questions or comments, we would love for you to chime in on our message board at teampoaa.org. Thank you very much for your time.